There's a question that whispers in the darkest corners of the human heart, a question that often comes when we are on our knees. You follow the rules, you treat people with kindness, you pray for guidance and work to build a good life. And then, the storm hits anyway. A sudden diagnosis, an unexpected betrayal, a door you were sure would open that slams shut in your face. In those moments, it's easy to feel a profound sense of injustice. You look around and see others who seem to coast through life, and you find yourself looking up at the ceiling in the middle of the night, asking, "Why? What did I do to deserve this? Are you even listening?" It's more than just pain. It's a deep spiritual loneliness, a feeling that you've been abandoned in your most critical hour. If you have ever felt that ache, that toxic blend of confusion, frustration, and doubt, I want you to know you are not alone. It's a feeling that can harden the soul. But what if there was a different way to see the chisel of hardship? What if the very things you believe are breaking you are actually making you? I want to share a simple story with you. It's not about a person, but about a forgotten block of marble that discovered the profound answer to our universal question: why does a good God allow bad things to happen? Our story centers on a block of marble, tucked away in the corner of a vast, dusty workshop, where sunbeams cut through the air, illuminating dancing motes of powdered stone. It wasn't just any rock. It had been hewn from a prestigious quarry, a stone of exceptional purity, with subtle gray veins that ran through its white heart like ancient, sleeping rivers. Unlike the other blocks that seemed to yearn for the sculptor's touch, hoping to be shaped into something magnificent, this one had a different kind of ambition. It cherished its own wholeness. Its edges were sharp, its surface was cool and smooth, a testament to its untouched integrity. In its silent consciousness, it dreamed not of becoming a dramatic, emotional statue, but of being chosen for a purpose that would honor its perfection. Perhaps the flawless cornerstone of a great cathedral, or a grand, unbroken floor tile in a royal hall, a role where its strength and purity would be celebrated as they were, without the violence of change. To be carved, in its view, was not to be given a new purpose, but to have your very essence broken. It was a life philosophy built on a simple, powerful desire: to remain unscathed. From its quiet corner, the marble block became a silent observer, a judge in a gallery of the broken. It watched as the sculptor worked on other pieces. It saw a statue of a grieving mother, her face etched with lines of sorrow, and thought, "How tragic! Her beauty is defined only by her pain. I am serene, untouched by such grief." It saw a powerful stallion being carved, muscles tensed, mid-gallop. A display of violence, the marble concluded. It was struck 1,000 times to look so strong. My strength is quiet, inherent. It needs no such brutality to be proven. This judgment was a shield, protecting a deep and profound fear. The sounds of the workshop were to the marble a symphony of destruction. The sharp clang of the hammer hitting the chisel was not a note of creation, but a scream. The grating sound of a rasp was the sound of a thing being worn down, its essence stolen. The marble's greatest suffering was not a physical pain, but a constant low-grade anxiety. It was the terror of losing control, of having its identity, its prized wholeness, forcibly taken from it. It believed that to be changed was to be ruined, and that a scar was not a mark of survival, but a badge of ultimate failure. Then came the day the marble had always dreaded. The air in the workshop was still, the light soft. The sculptor entered, his eyes scanning the raw material. He passed by a massive block of granite, ignored a vein of rich red stone, and his gaze settled on the quiet corner, on it. The marble felt a cold dread as the sculptor's hands, strong and calloused, lifted it from its safe place and secured it on the cold, unforgiving workbench in the center of the room.
The first blow was a shock that resonated through its entire being. A steel chisel was placed against its perfect, smooth corner, and the mallet came down with a deafening crack. A large, sharp piece of itself, a piece it had considered essential to its identity, was violently sheared away, clattering to the floor. The pain was sharp, but the violation was worse. Its wholeness was gone, forever. What followed was not a careful, artistic process in the marble's view, but a relentless assault. Blow after blow rained down, each one a fresh wave of agony and loss. It wasn't being shaped, it was being attacked. With every chunk that fell away, its internal voice screamed louder. "See, this isn't creation, this is mindless destruction. I am being made ugly, weak, unrecognizable." Its lowest point, its moment of complete surrender to despair, came with a blow that felt different from the rest. The sculptor took up a heavier mallet, and with a powerful, deliberate strike, split off a piece so immense that the marble felt a fracture run deep into its core. In that moment, all resistance, all pride, all hope crumbled into dust. It was no longer a perfect block. It was just a casualty. It gave up fighting, gave up hoping, and accepted its new reality. "I am nothing now," it thought, a silent, final cry echoing in its stone heart. "Just rubble, just the ruins of what I was meant to be." For a long time, the marble simply existed in its shattered state, a silent monument to its own ruin. The sharp edges of its new form were foreign and painful. The workshop fell quiet again, the dust from the assault settling on its raw surfaces like a funeral shroud. All was still, defeated. But then, a single, brilliant beam of afternoon sun sliced through a high window in the workshop. It didn't illuminate the whole room, but landed directly on the broken marble and the dust-covered floor around it. The fine white powder, the very particles of its former self, the evidence of its destruction, began to catch the light. They shimmered, swirling in a slow, weightless dance within the sunbeam, transformed from debris into something ethereal and beautiful. And in that moment of unexpected beauty, a voice came. It was not a sound that echoed off the walls of the workshop, but one that resonated deep within the marble's core, as if the dust itself were speaking. It was the quiet, steady voice of the sculptor, a voice that carried no judgment or anger, only a profound and gentle truth. "You believe you are being broken," the voice whispered, not with words of comfort for the pain, but with a statement of purpose. "That which is being broken is only the prison you built for yourself. You are not being destroyed. You are being set free." The marble's consciousness reeled. Set free? The idea was an insult to its suffering. "It feels like destruction," it thought back, a silent protest against the sculptor's gentle voice. "Every piece you take is a part of me that is gone forever." The voice responded, not with an argument, but with an invitation. It was a simple, yet impossibly difficult instruction. "I do not ask you to ignore the pain. I ask you to shift your focus within it," the voice explained. "With the next blow of the hammer, do not brace for what you will lose. Do not focus on the part of you that will fall away. Instead, I want you to open your entire awareness to a single question. Let it be the only thing you think of in that moment." The pause, letting the weight of the instruction settle. "Ask, what are you revealing in me?" The command seemed absurd. A question? What good was a question against the brute force of a hammer and chisel? It felt like being told to ponder a riddle while your house was burning around you. The tool seemed too small, too philosophical for the raw, physical reality of being broken. It required a leap of faith the marble felt it did not have. It was an instruction to trust the very process that was causing it so much agony. The sound of the sculptor's footsteps approaching the next morning was no longer a distant threat, but the immediate promise of more pain. As the chisel was set against a new, raw edge, Every instinct the marble had screamed for it to brace for the violation, to focus on the injustice. It was a familiar, well-worn path of resentment and fear. But then, the echo of the sculptor's voice, the memory of the swirling dust came back to it. Ask the question. It felt impossible, like trying to meditate in the middle of a battle. Yet it gathered all its focus, and as the mallet began its swift descent, the marble poured all its consciousness not into the point of impact, but into the silent internal whisper. What are you revealing in me? The blow was just as jarring as before. The shockwave of force was just as intense. A piece of itself broke away and was lost, but something was profoundly different. For the first time, the marble's focus wasn't on the shard of stone skittering across the floor. It was on the new surface left behind. Where there had been a jagged, chaotic break, there was now a clean line, the beginning of an intentional shape. Another blow landed. Again the question, what are you revealing in me? This time the fear was still present, but it was accompanied by a flicker of something else, a spark of curiosity. The work continued, a relentless rhythm of hammer and chisel. With each impact, the marble practiced its new tool. The process was agonizing, yet with every piece that fell away, its internal world was being rebuilt. It began to sense a pattern in the sculptor's work, a logic to the apparent chaos.
The change was not magical. It was gradual. The pain did not vanish, but its meaning was utterly transformed. It was no longer the pain of random destruction, but the focused, refining pain of creation. The marble stopped seeing the sculptor as a tormentor and began to sense him as a partner. It was still blind to the final design, but it no longer needed to see. It had learned to trust the hands that held the chisel. The day came when the violent cracking of the hammer and chisel finally subsided. The marble waited, now in a state of quiet anticipation rather than fear. The harsh sounds were replaced by a new sensation, the steady, abrasive rasping of coarse sand, which scrubbed away the raw marks of the chisel. Then came finer sand, and finally, the silky friction of a fine cloth that polished its surface until it held a soft, internal light. The process was no longer about removing what it was, but about perfecting what it was becoming. At last, all work stopped. The workshop fell into a profound silence. The sculptor drew back, his work finished. For a long moment, the marble simply existed, feeling the cool air on its new, intricate form. Then the sculptor returned carrying not a tool of destruction, but a large, polished mirror. He placed it carefully in front of the stone. The marble braced itself, not knowing what to expect. And then it saw. It was not a block. It was not a ruin. It was not a cornerstone or a floor tile. Reflected in the mirror was the form of an angel. Its face was turned slightly upward, a look of serene acceptance carved into its features. One wing was unfurled, as if ready for flight, while the other was held close to its heart. Every curve, every line, every smooth plane that had been born from a violent blow now contributed to a creation of breathtaking grace. In that instant, the marble understood everything. Its true purpose was never to be a perfect, untouched block hidden in a dusty corner and admired for its lack of scars. Its highest calling was locked inside from the very beginning. The breaking, the agony, the pieces of itself it had mourned, none of it was random. It was the precise, necessary, and loving work required to chip away the stone that was not the angel, so the angel could finally be seen.
The glory was not given to it, it was revealed within it. Like that block of marble, you began your life whole, with a deep, innate desire to remain unscathed. And when life's hammer and chisel find you, through loss, through failure, through pain you did not ask for and do not deserve, it is natural to believe you are being ruined. It is natural to look at the pieces of yourself that have been chipped away and believe you are becoming less. But this story offers us a new lens through which to see our own suffering. What if the hardships that bring you to your knees are not a sign of God's absence, but the undeniable proof of His intimate presence? What if He is not the distant, careless God you may fear He is, but a master sculptor, with His hands held steady upon you? Perhaps the qualities you need most, true resilience, profound empathy, unshakable faith, can only be forged in the very fires you wish to escape. Perhaps the pride that holds you back can only be broken away by humiliation. Perhaps the compassion that will define your legacy can only be found through the agony of a broken heart. The sculptor's work is to reveal the masterpiece that has been inside you from the very beginning. He is not destroying you, He is carving away everything that isn't you. So the next time the pressure feels unbearable, the next time a piece of your life breaks away, try to remember the marble and its tool. Take a breath and shift your question. Move away from the victim's cry of, "Why is this happening to me?" and dare to whisper the faithful question of the masterpiece in progress. God, what are you revealing in me? Because your struggles are not the end of your story. They are the sacred and often painful process of your unveiling. You are not being ruined. You are being revealed. If this story touched your heart, you are not alone in this feeling. The community here is a place for support and shared faith. We would be honored if you shared in the comments a time you felt chiseled by life and what you learned from it. Your story could be the hope someone else needs to read today. And if you know someone who is asking these why questions right now, wrestling with their faith in a difficult season, perhaps this story is the message they need to hear. Please consider sharing it with them. For more stories that aim to bring faith and perspective to life's toughest questions, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching and being part of this journey.